I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to StuCurls.com to watch this amazing Stu Sells Tankard curling. Grab a glass of wine and watch some more.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard on curlingzone.com and the Curling Stadium Network. My name is Shawn, Joyce, joined by David Wills tonight.
Hi.
We're going to be featuring B-event action on the women's side, Madeleine Dupont and Krysta Burns.
Looks great. I'm having a look at the teams as they're setting on the back there, and I think we might actually have both Dupont sisters. It looks as if they're both there, so it's a bit of a distance for me for the moment, but
as always on tour, the teams have a practice session before the game starts and draw to the button to determine who will have last rock here in the opening end. Draw to the button was won by the Dupont team, and Krysta Burns' team getting us started. This is the lead. Throwing the Yellowstones, Laura Masters. The second is Sarah Guy. Justin Murphy is the third, and the skip in the house, Krysta Burns. Except that looks like the Dupont team. I think we've got the hammer on, or had the hammer on the wrong side.
Well, the thing is, according to the scoreboard, this would be Team Burns, but no, that's definitely Team Dupont that just started. So
we've got the colors backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So Team Burns has last rock.
That's right.
And their roster is the one I just read.
You did a great job, but the yellow rock was thrown by the Danish lead, and now we have Team Burns coming in. Young team from Northern Ontario.
That first stone slipped into the ring, so they're able to make the hit on it.
Yeah, and a little attempt at a hit and roll off to the side and stick around just for good measure. That worked out nicely.
Yeah, if they could have hit right on the nose, they would have stayed in the free guard zone, but it rolls in, so now I'll introduce them properly. As long as I pronounce these names right. Mai Larson is the lead. The second is Denise Dupont. Matilda Halse is the third, and Madeleine Dupont the skip.
Yeah, as we were discussing, the Dupont sisters have been curling for a long time out of Denmark, and done quite well. There's a recent European Championship where they battled their way all the way to the finals. Really impressive to see how they've done. And according to our experts, they haven't had the same team all this time. Some new people have been coming along, and yet they haven't really fallen off in terms of their strength. So it's really great to see.
Well, here we've got a bit of a mistake. First stone slipped into the rings. It's been an exchange of hits up till now, and I'm not sure what happened to that. That's a long ways by the guard, or the rock that she's trying to hit. I don't know whether that picked or if she just threw it that bad.
I don't know. Part of me was thinking, because we're so early in the event, they may be adjusting to the ice and the amount of curl, but they both played at least once. Both of these teams are now in the B league, or the B event, having lost their first game. But even so, you'd think they wouldn't be fooled so easily. This is terrific. And yet another event where we're seeing a lot of really wonderful teams out of the European group that are coming over and playing. And we're seeing teams from Scotland and Germany, and it's just so great to see these teams popping into these events. The men have seen that a lot of teams from the Pacific Rim, the Japanese teams and the Korean teams. It's just been amazing. So another shot at this. Just
Chance.
a hit and roll.
Yeah, would have liked to get on top of it, but stays right there. Now, for the Dupont team, if she hits that on the nose, she won't be on the ring. So she's going to have to roll in. When she rolls in, might leave a double.
You're right. First things first, we'll just get rid of the blue, and if we can put ourselves in a nice spot, maybe even across the face of the yellow into a new spot on the ice, just to give them a challenge. We froze just for a second. There we go. So you're right, the double is there. They are touching the rings, but the double is there for sure now.
Big shot here. This is after the miscue they had earlier in the end. This might be your chance to get it back right here.
You're right.
They were on the brush right away on this one as well. He's got to stay high side. This is going to overcurl.
Hit and roll now. Will it roll all the way out? Yeah, this is... Nope, it stayed. That's interesting. One of the things to try and gauge from the early part of the game is how lively the rocks are. And that one didn't really seem to go too far. Hit and stick. And split the house up nicely for the Dupont team. This looks very nice.
Pretty even.
Yeah. So we're asking ourselves, let's see, the Team Burns throwing the blue rocks has hammer.
Yes.
And the scoreboard has now been adjusted, so we're all set for that. So DuPont's basic goal, I suppose, is to make sure that she forces Team Burns to take a point and then take over the hammer. Coming down
Team
again.
Burns will be trying to get the hit and roll over here just to try to get these rocks grouped, but this is rolling the wrong way.
Over curling yet again. We're having a little trouble with, I don't know whether we're taking just not enough ice, or the ice or the weight that they're throwing is maybe a little less than the skip is expecting.
I was a little surprised they were hitting the one in the middle. I thought if you're trying to group them, you usually hit the one on the outside, try to roll towards the one in the middle. Now when you roll out, like your chances of getting these rocks grouped now are, you've only got 3 left. It's pretty slim.
And as we saw when Madeleine was indicating where she wanted the rock to end up, she's trying to split even wider, except it looks as if we may be a little light. So a little break for Team Burns, and now a chance to hit and keep things back.
Yeah, you got to stay this time, though. Can't roll out. You give
right.
them the chance to come around, and you're still
right.
forced.
Yeah. I'll give them credit. They seem to be playing at a pretty good pace. Things are moving along.
It has been a relatively open end, although there's been a couple of misses already.
So this is Justin Murphy, and she's just trying to hit, or I guess a hit and roll to stick around, making sure she's in the house. It looks like this is going to work out beautifully. And forcing now the DuPont team to play a hit and maybe a roll. It's a little bit of a long ways to get behind that yellow guard, but something that challenges Team Burns.
Yeah, you'd hate to roll halfway there and then make it easier for Krysta Burns to roll in behind. But, if you hit this on the nose, Burns wouldn't be able to hit it on the nose again. She wouldn't be in the ring. She'd have to roll towards the guard, and then you might have a good chance to roll behind with your last one. I think I'd be looking for a nose hit here.
And it looks like you may be getting what you asked for. It's not going to be wide. There you go. Okay, so we're half on the rings.
That's a good shot because Krysta Burns has to roll towards the guard.
Yeah.
And if she's not all the way in behind, then it's a shorter roll for Madeleine Dupont. And on her last rock, there's no reason not to go for it.
You're right.
If you roll out, so what? You're probably headed to a blank anyway.
And interesting here, we've got the broom set for an in-turn rather than an out-turn. This is the first time we've come at this rock from this direction. So we'll see how it looks, especially with the curl.
Well, it makes me wonder if she might not be going for the big roll. You get a
Yep.
little bit more action on your shooter with the in-turn.
I just fear that the chances of it over curling, going away from center, may come back to haunt her. This is looking very much like a nose. Yeah. Okay. Chance to draw.
Around the guard you go, yep.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure what this discussion is about.
I was gonna say, there was some laughter at least, but I'm not sure either.
Even if they've been told that the rings are a little bit out, there's no chance they could be that far out.
No. Okay. So the skip being called on to throw a nice T-line draw right in the first end. Get your draw weight in order.
Yeah, really the biggest challenge to this, it's not the same spot they would have thrown in practice.
No, you're right. At least in theory, the weight will be similar, and then the brushers can do a little bit of extra work if necessary. Here we go.
Chance here for Madeleine Dupont with her final stone in the first end. If she can bury this, she'll get
line
at
is
least the
wonderful.
force.
Yep. Line is wonderful. Boy, is it ever curling.
Yeah, that's going to come out the other side.
All righty.
Not very much, though.
I suspect, yeah, as we see based on where the broom has been set, they're just simply going to draw for one.
Yeah.
Not mess around with any heroics, not in the first end.
No, but you could certainly see the way that was curling. If that gets to the tee line, it's probably wide open. No shortage of curl to the corner anyway.
Yep, you're absolutely right. All right, with the final rock of the end.
And this would be a very similar path to that draw to the button. Now, we don't know which turn Krysta got to throw in the pregame, but...
Lots of room in terms of the space, just a question of making sure the weight's correct. And the sweepers are having trouble deciding whether to sweep, which is a good sign.
Yeah, they're just off and on clean. That's usually exactly like you said. That's a good sign. Not getting too far away from it in case they have to go. They put it right on the button for her.
Very nice.
1 point on the board for Krysta Burns. Madeleine Dupont will have last rock in the second.
Hey, curling fans, I'm standing here in front of Sheet Stew here at the High Park Club, and I just want to let you know that I'm so excited to sponsor the sport of curling, to help curling out. So you can go to stewcurls.com, see all my events, see the Stew Sell series. But you know what? I also sell real estate as well. So you need to buy a house, list a house, condo, rental, business. Look, give me Stu a call.
Don't forget the brooms. Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got one, you got two, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Men's and women's.
No. Well, you know there's going to be breaks at least. You know, there's enough people who are still playing that you need another round. Okay.
Second end just underway. You can see the center guard thrown up to start the end. Here's the come around attempt.
And both teams played a reasonably good first end. A couple of over curls, but basically things seemed very comfortable for them in terms of reading the ice and picking up the weight, especially draw weight. So it should be a nice solid game for them. Team Burns being asked to come down and tap out the shot rock.
Laura Masters with the throw. The brush down right away. This is not getting by either.
No.
Not sure she had the weight.
Now that rock is now set in a place which is actually covering the shot rock even a little more. So Madeleine has actually opted for a draw rather than taking. Oh, actually, I was going to say rather than taking out the blue, but she can't yet because
it didn't bite the rings. Yeah,
you're right. Free guard zone. You're right. From the face-on perspective, it looks like it might be, but you're right.
That was very light.
Yeah,
for what they were playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing really out of the brushers yet. Tons of room by the guard. They're going to look like they're going to try to come right by the yellow now, too.
All the way around.
Might have made this decision a little late.
No. And sit in front and try and make a two-shot attack on these rocks, one at a time.
Yeah, the one that was just thrown, there's some air beside the guard. So if you get to the inside of it, you might be able to nudge the other one a bit. But because there's a double wide guard there, I don't think you could ever tap it all the way into the open.
Well,
we'll find out.
Laura has definitely. Are we now on the second round?
Sarah Guy.
Yes, and Sarah now is throwing up.
This is going to stay on the outside.
Okay.
She rolls away.
Now we can hit. 5 rocks in play. Hit and roll. And Madeleine communicating a little bit about the weight to her sister. Here we go.
They should just be able to do that telepathically.
Yeah, you'd think. Yeah, it's been interesting. I have had a chance to watch the Dupont sisters play, and there are times when you don't realize that which one's which. You're watching and you think, "Hold on a second, didn't she just throw?" Or which one's in the house? Or okay, so we have a tricky spot on the ice because that's both teams have now been fooled.
You wouldn't think you could make it through that port with enough weight to play a takeout, and she did.
So tables are turned, and now Team Burns is going to try to draw around and take advantage of that guard. Originally they were chasing, and now they're going to take the lead.
She talked about rolling behind the guard. There's nothing wrong with hitting this one on the nose either. You exchange 2 nose hits. Then if you roll behind the guard, you're in front of the T line. You roll behind here, it'll be back 4. Now, granted, Burns doesn't have last rock here, and if you could force them to freeze in the back 4 foot, that's not the worst situation.
This has turned out quite nicely. Come on. No, they're okay. I was going to say they're trying to get it underneath, but so now we have a chance for hit and roll. Again, it'll be behind the T line, but at least they can try and hide something.
Well, yeah, but you got last rock. If you roll behind the center line or behind the center line guard behind the T line, Burns is going to freeze, and you're in trouble. You might be better off to roll past the guards here. This is another one that's just running straight on them, though. They're going to roll out, I think. Apologies for the technical issues. We do keep freezing up a little bit, but it gives you a moment there. As you see it freeze, you can guess what's going to happen and then see what happens when
We now rolled out
If-
because we don't see any rocks in the house. So
If you're watching with a friend, you could bet quarters on the outcome of the shot. Okay, from here, what do you think's going to
yeah,
happen?
freeze it at the hog line. Let's see. Yeah. All righty. All right, Justin's in the hack, and now she's basically, now we're definitely throwing a draw. Try to just bury one behind that center guard. Take advantage of the situation.
This has nice line coming by.
Mm-hmm.
Just a question of how deep it's going to be now. You'd love to just be full top 4, maybe bite the button.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Well, unfortunately, that's drifted a bit on me now. There's a way to get right to it. Yeah. Madeleine immediately put her brush down, actually the top of the 4-foot.
Yeah, she doesn't want to come all the way down to it. You just shrink the house.
Yep, you're right. And there's definitely a really big opportunity. Both teams now are in a situation where they want to find that draw weight and take advantage. This is looking really nice.
Yeah, they're cleaning, so they must feel the weight's close. But that was nice line coming by, and they're still not brushing. Are they worried it's deep? No, weight looks pretty good. This is a really nice shot coming in. Just bites the top of the 4, dead behind cover.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have walked it down any better.
So it's a little defense now for Team Burns. Coming in into the face of that rock that was just thrown will at least shrink the scoring area and give them options for their last shots.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of where that stone was just put by Matilda. She's got that high enough up in the rings that any even if they make this freeze, any bite of the 4-foot is still good enough to get your second point. You could bring that another foot deeper, you'd have a bite of the button, but then if she makes the freeze, you've got almost no room left to score your deuce. It's
This
it
looks
seems like a
wider
little
than
thing, but it's not.
Wider than the yellow shot coming in.
A little more weight, maybe.
So moved the yellow into a more vulnerable position, but left themselves quite exposed there. And either she was adjusting her foot or she's asking her thrower to throw hack weight.
I think that's probably a hack weight call.
Yeah, it's funny when the nature of the signals and whether or not they're the same as we always think they are.
Sometime a team should just reverse all their signals just to mess with the announcers.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is looking nice, but it didn't finish for them, so it's still exposed.
You know, it's not a horrible spot where it is. If you decided to take on the double and you didn't hit it just right, you could very easily jam it on the back.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit and roll in, you're not helping yourself at all. You still left them the entire 4-foot.
Okay.
Would you ever still just play the draw? I mean, your second shot at the back, right?
Yeah, you could just draw.
If you could if you could get to the shot rock, the scoring area is smaller, right?
It might give you a chance to get into a nicer spot if you use the rock as a way to come in, but you don't necessarily have to remove it.
I certainly don't think, like I saw them indicate hit and roll. I do think if you're going to try to hit this stone, why would you want to roll? Like, you block the draw path if you stay right there. You roll under, she's drawing.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's hard to judge exactly, and especially with the broom the way it is, it depends on the weight they throw, which result they're going to be. You and I are trying to predict. We have to wait until we see the rock in motion. This looks like they're hitting a hit and roll, but not in a huge amount of weight.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you get by rolling there. I mean, I guess you've still got enough of it, you can promote it, but...
Mm-hmm.
Madeleine does look like she's going to have to go to the other side of the house to play the draw. mean, you could draw the same way, come around the blue. The problem is if you stop kind of beside the yellow, you've left a double wide target. It's going to be hard to miss.
You're right. Yeah, it'd be nice to sneak in there as long as you don't move the blues, the framework that looks so nice. That's the only issue. Perhaps just to draw around. It looks like based on the ice, they're just doing a straight draw, not
Yeah.
bothering with any of the blues. So, and you need to get to, well, you've got quite a bit of room. As long as you're maybe touching the 4 foot, you're probably in pretty good shape.
I think you got to be at least half 4 foot because she did leave herself half of the rock on that blue, so she's probably Krysta Burns sitting back there thinking I can play the little slash blue onto yellow, and if she does that, she's going to be about a third of a stone into the 4 foot. So I think you want to be in far enough to beat that.
All righty. With her first of 2 skip shots, this is Madeleine Dupont, and a lovely little draw coming around. It looks like it's over curling.
Yeah, that stone she's got to get by very tight to the rings. This might be a little light as well. Just going to touch it.
Well, that closes the door on any hope of going through the gap, I think.
That's an interesting angle too, the yellow under the blue.
Yeah, you make a great point.
She's only got 1 shot left, but she's really got 2 raises left available. Which one is less likely to jam on the blue at the back?
Right. That's a big question. The one at the top with the yellow means that they have to use 2 rocks before.
It does, but if she hits this blue one that she's looking at, if she has to hit it thin and comes over the top of the yellow, it's coming straight back into the blue.
Right.
At the back of the 8, and then it's probably still a draw for 2.
Yep.
The yellow and the blue onto the shot stone, because she can see all of it, that shouldn't be as much of a problem.
Right.
I don't love this draw.
Just trying to outdraw. Yeah. Oof. We just saw what happened with the Dupont rock being, I think they got caught with draw weight. It is really swinging.
It's great if you don't make it, but if you make it, but if you don't make it, you actually probably make her shot easier.
Well, you may also leave your rock in a position where it can be used, right?
Well, that's what I mean. It could be easier. You could be deep. You could leave backing. You could crash the guard and give her more room. Like there's a.
Well, I think part of it's a function of comfort. The upweight shots that you would require for a hit, maybe not as nice or as comfortable for Krysta. But here comes the draw. She got out far enough. They took virtually the same ice as Team Dupont, and we already saw that rock over curl quite badly. Makes me think that either they have a different expectation of the curl from their skip, or she's changing the weight. This looks heavy. Yeah. Okay. I think there's really not much question except that they need to change the ice from the first shot.
Yeah,
I think their weight. Yeah, I think the weight was pretty good. At least top 8 the last time. So, and interestingly, it doesn't. I was going to say, is that Mathilde in the house holding the broom? I guess it is. I was thinking that for some reason that the sisters changed spots when Madeleine was going to throw, then her sister would be in the house holding the broom, but it doesn't look like that. So, experience of more the sweeping that her sister probably has is probably a big value. Here we go. In turn, draw, full 8 foot around the guard.
Brushers were on this early. Has to get by the ones out front.
Looks like we managed it this time.
Line's good. Now the question is this going to stop in time?
Yeah, looks very nice. Great shot.
Comes to rest. Back 4 foot.
Great shot.
First chance with the hammer. 2 points on the board for Madeleine Dupont. She's got a 2-1 lead here in the B event action, Stu Sells, Toronto, Tankard.
Hey, all you curling fans sitting at home watching the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard here at StuCurls.com. Look, High Park's just down the road. We're here in the Junction. If you bring the map card with you, come to Caribou Gifts and start your Christmas shopping early and get some great gifts for the family.
Hi, I'm Carl Kloss and I'm the owner of Kloss Concepts. We're an electrical contractor operating in the GTA and Muskoka areas. Kloss Concepts is the proud title sponsor of the Toronto Tankard Series. We would like to wish everybody good luck and happy curling.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Here we go.
2-1 as we begin play here in the third end. Dupont with the lead. Krysta Burns with the hammer. First stone brought into the top of the 8-foot. Fighting the 4, it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit of an aggressive start. Offering her the chance to just trade shots, but I think you'll see a corner guard go up and try and create some offense. Yep.
A tight corner, but it is a corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the position isn't too bad, especially with the rocks curling as much as they are right now. Boy, it's easy to get around something close to the house.
Just a 1-point lead here for Dupont as we play in the third. So with a good stone on the top of the 4-foot to start things off, they're going to try to guard it up now. My Larson with the draw, looking for a center guard. Protect shot rock, and also she'd probably like to make sure it's still biting the center line.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing. Certainly in front of the house, but if it can be touching the center line, then they can't even touch it. So let's have a look. That's a wonderful shot. Well done.
So Laura Masters now being asked to come sit down on top of that. I can hear players.
Mm-hmm, me too. Yeah.
Both teams really continuing to struggle with the line, and I'm a little surprised Madeleine's not out there ready to sweep.
Yeah.
Because that's a no-tick zone.
Yeah, it's a no-tick zone, but I guess she looked at it and thought, I don't think they're going to move it far enough. And in fact, it didn't leave the line. So
nope.
You're right. It's worth fussing over, but I guess she didn't think it was going to. Either that or she just didn't think of it. But yeah, it's
looking to come in again. It'd be tempting here, wouldn't you think, David, to throw a guard, because that's a double peel just waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm. You and I are looking
this
at
is the fifth rock. Yeah,
from our angle, it looks a little different than hers, I suspect. But you're right.
Well, Krysta's got to. They're overlapped on the center line. Like, she's going to peel those on the next shot. But if you put a high guard on it, maybe she can't.
So I I have a pretty good background with the German language, but my Danish isn't the greatest. But interestingly, some of the numbers are very, very similar. So they're talking to each other about how deep the rock is coming. The sweepers are yelling numbers, so we'll have to see. They talked about it being a 6 until they got to the top of the house, and then they switched to 5. So I love when sweepers switch the call of the weight, like about a foot before the rock stops.
At least they were in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it was still an accurate call, but it was funny how said, oh, I guess it's not a 6, it's going to be a 5.
As a skip, long-time skip, the ones that bother me is when they're shouting out the numbers coming down the ice, and it sounds like an auction because they just keep going up.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Watch your feet.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, here it comes.
Well, they had a chance for the double peel, overcurled again, and just got the one. So a chance for Denise Dupont to really put some pressure on here.
Yeah, with that extra rock in the house now, it's even a more difficult situation if they can cap this with a couple of nice guards. So one's in place, add another.
And with a little bit more distance between them, there may not be another opportunity quite as good to get the double peel. Well, that overcurls too, though.
Yeah.
You could go after the 2 in the house right now.
Absolutely. I'd say it's 3/4 sort of visible, so
You can still play the double, the peel.
Mm-hmm. Or if you hit the top one hard on the nose, could you remove more than 2? I suppose.
It's there to get all 4 of them. Whether or not she can throw that hard, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know this team that well.
Okay.
They're going to play the double peel on the guards, and you'd love to move at least one of the rocks in the rings.
Mm-hmm.
Very thin on the first one.
Oh,
Gets
here we
a
go.
bit of a bonus. Taps her own. Well.
I guess we see a replay on this. I'm not sure it was intentional, but it worked out nicely. A little ricochet.
If you knew this would have gone, you might have called it. But
Mm-hmm.
just catches a thin piece of the first one. Shooter comes across, and boy, you wouldn't have bet that you could slash it back like that coming across. But
Yep.
puts it right up to a corner freeze. Still Dupont sitting 1 though, and it is partially guarded already.
Yeah, but they're definitely making sure that there's no access to the blue rock. At least not for one shot. Very nicely set up.
Now the 2 guards are fairly close together. It's another good chance for the double peel.
Mm-hmm.
They have struggled so far to find the line for these.
Yeah, it seems to be I'm watching as it happens and thinking to myself, I think the weight may not have been what the skip was expecting sometimes, and so it curls differently than anticipated. All right, so now we have another guard, but that blue rock in the house is still visible. So I think Team Dupont has to be a little bit careful.
Matilda Halsey with the guard on her first, looking to replace it here with her second.
Mm-hmm. It looks almost identical.
Yeah. I think they've left this one a little bit higher, which in theory should make the double peel a little tougher.
Mm-hmm. That's nice when your vice skip does a nice job of putting rocks in position. So now you can start thinking about how we're going to be aggressive in finishing the end.
Yeah. That blue one that rolled across the last time is kind of a problem for them too, because if they're going to try to play the double peel, you'd like to go over the top of the yellow.
Mhm.
The blue's kind of in the way to do that. You heard Krysta is concerned that if they play the over the top on the yellow, it's coming into the blue, and I think I'm with Justin on that blue in the rings isn't helping you, and even if you jam it into that, you should probably double the 2 out that are in the 4-foot now. Yeah, I'm with Justin on this. The single peel is not helping you at all. I'd rather see you play the double peel blue and the yellow if she doesn't want to play the over the top.
Mm-hmm. Either that or just run things back aggressively into the pack and just let things.
Yeah, that's dangerous too, though, because you probably leave your shooter there.
Yeah, let physics. But you're right. I mean, anything's better than just a single peel.
Well, I mean, if you double peel the blue yellow,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a double available on the yellows in the house.
Right.
And it's a lot harder for her to replace 2 guards with 1 rock. If you're just gonna peel the 1 guard, she's just gonna put it back, and
Right. You're right back where you started. 1
yeah.
rock later.
And is this where you want to be at the end of the end?
Mm-hmm. Well, Justin, as you mentioned, to her credit, is basically prolong the discussion and even come all the way back down to make sure everybody's clear. So that's great.
Straight peeling the 1 guard isn't doing him any good for sure. She's right about that. I actually like what she's looking at now, because there's a couple of good things that can happen here. If this rock overcurls and you miss the second yellow, look where it's going.
Yes, right
if
into
you
the
miss
blue.
It's right into the blue, and it's right on the right angle where you could probably dead jam it. So there's a lot of good things that can happen with this shot.
And working at peel weight, that's the one thing that they never had a problem agreeing on, is that we're throwing a peel.
Actually, if you hit this a little thin too, you could catch the blue guard first and maybe get all 3 guards out from in front of the house. That's still better.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it's not too bad at all. I mean, if Team Dupont wants to go on chase that blue in the rings, they leave things open, so they have to defend what they have. So I think it's worked out well, all things considered. I think the shot was a little bit wider than expected. Never really finished for them, so this is not a bad result. Now,
yeah, they're going to have 4-foot anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas 4-foot wasn't going to score before. There's a little bit of air there, but I don't think she's going to be able to roll inside.
No.
Looking at that broom, it doesn't look like she's throwing very hard. So even if she got to the inside, it wouldn't roll very far, maybe a couple of inches.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad to just have a straight nose.
The sweep call sounds urgent.
Well,
looks okay though.
Dead nose, not bad at all, and leaves the Team Burns in a tough spot right now. There's not a lot of ways to get to the 4-foot. Well, they're coming on this side, and this is a tough shot. I mean, if they make it great and everything will be fabulous, but if they leave themselves anything to shoot at, the number of yellow rocks is starting to build up a little bit here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is kind of all or nothing. I thought she'd hit the rock, those 3 at the top of the house, the middle one of the 3, the one beside the D and dry.
Mm-hmm.
She could hit it and roll underneath cover. Might even get the double doing that. But by doing that, she's going to have one draw path or the other with her last one. If she doesn't make this, Madeleine Dupont will take it away, and she won't have a shot to score with her last one.
Exactly. All righty, well, let's see how it turns out. As I said, a lovely draw, tucking them in behind the guards will be perfect and everything will be fine. But it has to be in the right spot.
Yeah, because there's 3 yellows that could maybe be used. 2 for sure could run into it, and they might be able to come in off 1. This is on the guard by the sounds of it.
Just ticking the guard, but it's also light. Okay, now. What's the best way to add another rock to the pile that will cause trouble?
Well, I think it's more than just cause trouble. Like, she's got shots. She could come off the widest one and roll into the 4-foot. She could play the double on the one that I just was talking about and roll in, and she gets her point that way. How do you take both of those away? And there might be a way to do that with a little tap on the... You'd want to be probably just a hair on the high side of it, just to take away a little bit of the inside of that stone closer to the tee line. And she doesn't need to move very far. You just saw them tap. Just move it up a foot on the angle towards the 4-foot. That's perfect. And then Krysta Burns might have to try that in-turn draw again. And look how wide she'd have to go to get around the one she just threw. Even if you're short here, but stay on the broom side a little bit, just to take away the air on the stone close to the tee line, and not leave her enough to hit and roll in off the other stone.
Yeah,
she's got some room to work with here.
The fascinating part for me is there's no way to guard. Originally you'd think, hey, why don't we just guard? But you can't, because there's too many options.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to come in and bump something, and here we go, a little tap.
That's pretty good. Can she get? I don't know that she can get enough of the inside. I mean, she could maybe hold her to 1 hitting the stone in the full 8-foot.
Well, if you go through the gap, very narrow gap, with the in-turn, you might be able to come through and at least keep them to 1, or just a draw around the outside.
I think the weight you'd have to throw to come through that port, I don't think you're ever staying.
Yeah, the way the ice is curling, you're right.
Yeah. I think Justin looked at it first. You could hit the one in the 8-foot, roll in a bit. I don't think you're ever making the double, so that's just to give up 1. Or you come around the draw on the other side, and again, with where her last one ended up, how much ice would you need to take? Like, you'd have to be right over to the boards and then probably walking up the sheet, because you actually can't take ice on the next sheet, but that's where you'd really need to be.
You're right. It's I think, boy, I'm just,
this
I
is,
don't know
this is a nose hit to give him 1.
Okay. I was going to say, we were
score
talking, and I don't know if we could hear well enough to hear what they finally decided.
Yeah, she might try to roll in, but I don't think there's any way she's rolling in enough to score. Cannot. I heard her say it picked.
It's going sideways.
Yep.
Now we're trying for a lucky break, and we got one. Oh,
not lucky enough. They had one of those already this end.
Yep.
Goes right through. It's going to be a steal of 5 for Madeleine Dupont here in the third end of play. She now takes a 7-1 lead. Krysta Burns will have last rock when we come back for the 4th.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the Sioux South Toronto Tankard here at StewCurls.com. And all you fans and all you curling teams who are staying in the area, come up to Petty Fine Foods. Lots of great prepared food. You just throw in the oven, cook, eat, and go. And if you show your map card to Stefo, you're gonna get
a free espresso and a complimentary cannoli on the house.
Free! Free! So come on up.
4-letter magic word.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
There'll be at least 2 guards, if not 3. Yeah, right. All right.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the first one. Here we are, started in the 4th end, first stone to the top of the 4-foot. We're expecting a corner guard here, and then probably Madeleine Dupont, where we saw her with a 1-point lead in the 3rd end. Play a guard right away. I expect she'll come right into the house again on the 3rd stone, and maybe on the 5th, because Krysta Burns might need to throw 2 guards here and then see what she can manage out of the rest of the end.
And their sweeper's working really hard to drag that guard, and unfortunately we have a hogged rock, so that one won't be in play, and it leaves the Dupont team an option. They're going to come right in again on the center, only maybe a tiny bit short, but my guess is they're going to throw this into the house as well.
Oh yeah, they're coming into the house. You don't want to be frozen. You want some separation. You don't want to leave them the chance to just play the little hack weight nose hit and stay frozen. So you need a little separation, but you'd like them in line. No pockets.
Okay, ja, vi skal hjælpe bare. Ja, hjælp, hjælp. Ja, lidt mere. Lidt mere.
Well, this they'll not be happy with. That's short of the rings. It's a guard. Krysta Burns needs to throw another one anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's tempting to sort of say, hey, there's an opportunity. Let's do a hit and roll, but it's too early yet. You have to try and take advantage of the free guard zone while you can. And well, we're on rock 4 here, so they can throw one more.
Yeah, you might have given some consideration to guarding the yellow guard, because Madeleine Dupont can peel it, and she might
peel her own rock.
Yeah, she doesn't want that guard out there. Well, I didn't say she would for sure, but she might. She could.
She's looking like she's going to try and almost put another rock in between her two, and just get in the way so that it's impossible to unlock everything with one shot.
She still wants rocks in the middle. It's this is not about trying to steal. Whenever a team in a situation like this is piling them into the middle, it's just so that sooner or later, the team with last rock, Krysta Burns in this case, she's got to deal with those rocks. And when she does, she can't really spread her own rocks out. All they need is one chance at a double, and they can make the end go away. So you pile a few in the middle.
Yep.
You know the other team wants to play in the corner. You're trying not to let them. It's a little bit of cat and mouse, right? But it's been around since the beginning of the game. You're trying to make the team play in the middle. They're trying to play on the corner.
Right.
That predates the free guard zone. I mean.
Yep. Yeah, it's
what can you do to make them play where you want them to play?
And I have to give them credit. Essentially, I guess the one rock was short, but Madeleine put her broom down where she wanted that rock, and I think it basically stopped exactly where she asked. So they're making things difficult for Team Burns. So here we're now throwing a draw and trying to take advantage of their corner guard.
Got a nice line here, but they have not touched it. I think I heard somebody say it's just back tee. That's okay. Our overhead camera's frozen.
I was going to say.
I was trying to figure out.
It hung on to the rings just barely. It's about half in. Boy, Madeleine is playing very aggressively, just continuing to pile the rocks in there.
Yeah, this one surprises me. I mean, you could certainly hit something blue now.
Very nice line. They're managing to put the broom in the right place, and with the weight right, the rocks are finishing quite nicely.
Yeah,
Now,
nice come around, and it's at the point now where Krysta Burns really has to start.
yeah.
As we said, she's got to deal with the middle, and there's getting to be too many of them, so she can't wait any longer. She's got to make a decision and move some rocks.
So I don't know whether she tapped the center rock, whether she's got an idea of hitting the one in the middle and maybe driving it back onto the draw in the 4-foot, or just hoping to hit something and roll under cover, which is the other option. They do have that guard at the side. Oh, I think they're in between whether to sweep or not.
Just going to rub the guard and might have lost their own stone out of the back corner. Well, no, leaves it in the rings, just moves it back a bit.
Yeah, one of the ones in the back is gone, but I'm not sure whether it was the shooter that stayed or the original. And now Team Dupont has still got 4 rocks touching the rings. I think their first, second, third, and 5th shot, and calling for another guard.
I think so, but it's close for who's 4th and 5th. It's always a little misleading when you've got, in this case, a blue 12-foot ring and a blue rock that's partly biting it. The same color rock always looks like it's got a bigger piece of the rings than it sometimes does.
And I don't trust the view from the camera sometimes, because they're not necessarily dead straight. So I've learned my lesson in the past about trying to judge based on my view. But we know they're close.
That's a pretty good spot. Protects a bit of the stone in the 12-foot, and also took away the inside of the shot rock on the edge of the 4.
But basically replaced the one they removed last shot. A little bit different, but the effect is the same, I think. So that's worked out well. Boy, they're keeping the pressure on. Poor Team Burns is really battling to just try and find a way to crack the shell here.
And we chunk off the top, that's okay, as long as we're like
Nå, det er sgu da rigtigt. Kan vi ikke holde øje med den og sådan træer? Og kan vi ikke lige huske at skrive det ned også?
So Justin Murphy looking for the hit and roll off of what is second shot right now, I believe. This one curling hard as well. They're going to be on the stone. They're going to be on the guard again. Wow.
A similar result, although I'm not sure whether this is going to create 2 blue rocks in the rings. I think it is, yep. So it's opened things up a tiny bit.
That one is definitely 4th. I'll go out on a limb and trust the camera on that one.
Yeah, I think your full 12 as opposed to some fraction. You're right. So we're trying to put it back.
Wait, what's close? 4? Yeah.
Both brushers down right away.
So it's definitely over curling.
Now we gotta move some granite.
Beautiful weight. The control certainly seems there. This has over curled and given, I guess, a little bit of access to that rock in the back, sitting on the 4-foot.
Yeah, it is a little bit higher too, so there's more room to get there. Here's the problem: even if you make it, you sure don't have a lot of scoring area.
You're right.
And you saw the gesture there. What she's talking about is they lose the 2 blues on the side. If you play that and roll under, you'll never be able to kill these yellows.
Yeah. And
But
when you're down
maybe
7-1, maybe it's time to.
Well, maybe with 3 rocks left, you're not going to be able to kill all these yellows anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know about staying there. Like your last one curled enough to do that. True. Same weight.
Altså, der ser hende lige forfra.
Really try to get that yellow out.
Krysta's weight in the last one was, sorry, Justin's weight was a little bit low in terms of a takeout. It meant that her shot ended up hanging around the house, but I think as she says, she really wants to make sure she gets a yellow out, then she needs to make sure she throws the weight. I think this is going to remove a yellow. There you go.
Just the one, and shooter rolls all the way across, but does hang on for a piece of that 12-foot.
Bit stronger. Jeg tror, det er deres.
Altså, den er der jo til at skyde på den, men jeg ved ikke, om det giver mening. Kom for at lægge en ind. Her? Ja. Og er den kort, så skal den der, så skal den ligge her.
Good one, and then a double.
Sådan her. Ja. Fuld 12. I hvert fald.
Ja.
I can't understand any of what they're saying, but I can't help but wonder if part of it is how come we didn't hit some blues earlier when we've got a 6-point lead?
No, there was none of that. They were only just trying to decide about who was shot and next shot and next shot. No, they're just talking about where they wanted the rock to end up, and then she was saying that if it's a little short, that's not a problem. You know, if they're trying to put it full 8-foot and it ends up only being full 12-foot, that's not the end of the world. Better that than if it goes too deep. So
yeah, that stone that's biting the center line at the top of the 4-foot, that's the one that might give them a chance at a double. So if you're going to protect the stone, that's the one to protect.
But I think she wants to just sort of...
Oh, she'd love to be in. And
yeah, well, and also just like maybe show a little corner peeking out. It almost is a... This is looking terrific. As long as they get it far enough.
If she gets in enough to beat the 3 blues on the side.
Great sweeping. Well, this is where we need an overhead.
We're third, right?
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, that helps. So
they've got third on the back. There it is. The one full 12 is third.
Soft, yeah.
If they come around and try to get to the nose or even inside the nose, they could do that. But then the thing is,
yeah,
as
but
you said,
then they're not getting the top yellow out, so the fact that they're third is never going to matter.
Yeah, you're right.
Not quite enough.
They have 2 shots left, and they have to try and open something so that they can essentially get those rocks over on the side to count for something.
Can you see enough of the yellow that was just thrown to make the double?
Wow.
I don't know.
I think so. And roll over into the pack of blues.
Yeah, I think you can too. And if you can, I think the scoreboard says you have to.
That's the shot. Yeah.
Now here's the other thing: if you just were to pick that one out and she just guards, there is still a blue corner guard up there. The run double is there. Like the angle, everything is angled the right way. It's not an easy shot, but again, you're down 7-1. You might have to play it if it's for 3 or 4.
Yeah. All right, here we go. We're just trying to come around, tap the yellow out, and hopefully flip in. And as you say, they're now eliminating the value of their...
This is curling hard.
Tiniest bit of over curl. Bad luck. Here we go. We have now got a big opportunity to basically take away what she just tried.
Den her dobbelt er pænt trækker. Eller hvad tænker du? Er den der? Ja. Men hvis nu tolerancen er kort...
Really, you can come in any amount too. You could throw it as a straight guard, or you could come right in and corner freeze the inside of your own, and you're good either way. She could play the little split on the one she just threw too, but the problem with that is you're coming from the wrong side. If you're short, you don't really do anything.
Yeah, I mean, if I were looking for ways to score more points, I would say that's a really great strategy. But I'm not sure that's necessary at this point. I think you're better off to lock up
Oh,
one or
yeah, I'm
two.
not even. I'm not even looking at it as a way to score more. I'm looking at it as a way to take away everything she's got.
Yeah.
I mean, you can leave her the nose hit on the one on the center line now. She doesn't score off that. But if you play the little split, you take away the inside of the shot rock, and you roll over and take away the draw path on the out turn side.
Mm-hmm.
She can't score.
But when we threw the drop hammer, we were nowhere near. Well, we would have had room to go wider.
They're telling her it's a 5.
It's there.
What a shot!
Oh, that's a peach. Touches the second shot stone, sits on the corner of the shot stone. They're all staggered. There's no way to roll in off any of those. She's going to have to draw cold.
Mm-hmm.
Your draw for hammer came through.
They're discussing it out. This is the side they must have played the draw to the button to get the hammer in the first end, and they did have the hammer in the first end.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to look great from the hacks. The stagger between that corner guard and the stone at the top of the forefoot.
Yep. You almost have to
It's a
throw
tight
it as
court.
if you're hoping to tick the blue and then let it work its way in as it slows down. It'll feel funny when you release it, but I think that's the line.
This is one of those shots where really the way everything's sitting in the house, she's probably either getting one or she's giving up 3. And if she's giving up 3, this is probably the last shot of the game.
Well, I'm not sure how many they're required to play as a minimum, but yes, if it gets out of hand, this will be halfway. Is there a minimum requirement?
That I couldn't tell you.
Very often it's 6 ends. Okay, they've made it by.
By the blue one. Looks like the line's okay.
Wow.
Almost didn't curl far enough, but I think she's got a single.
I think you're right. We're going to know in a second.
I think it's blue. Yeah. Can I move these ones? Yeah, for sure. Yep.
There you go.
One blue it is.
Ooh.
That's perhaps a game saver. Krysta Burns with an outstanding draw on her final stone picks up the single point. Now trails 7-2. Madeleine Dupont with last rock in the 5th.
On behalf of the volunteer board, the support team, and all the families who will be helped by this year's Sandra Schmirler Foundation Telethon, thank you for being a part of this historic moment. $1,126,014, a new record, exceeding our goal, and most importantly, countless families from St. John's to Victoria to Yellowknife and babies in over 100 hospitals in between will be impacted by your generosity. And we couldn't do it without the amazing partnerships we have with Curling Canada, TSN, and Net2Phone Canada. They connect you, our generous supporters, with so many of the Scotties participants and our volunteers on Telethon Day. A special thank you to Jocelyn and Brett for sharing little Luke Gallant's stories, and all of the families across this great country who shared stories of how Sandra's legacy has helped their little ones grow up and become champions. In each of the last 3 years, because of generous support.
Curling Canada.
Okay.
7-2 here as we begin play in the 5th end. Krysta Burns looking for center guards, and this one's going to over curl.
Well, free guard zone, but not in the no tick. But
so we're going to see the tick attempt.
yeah, with the right weight, we can move it and then float over into the house somewhere, maybe in the 12-foot.
If they remove it, it goes so back.
going to be a little thick on it now. How far does she push it?
Oh, that looks amazing. What a great shot.
Justin Murphy had stayed down to brush and not able to get it all the way out of play. If it goes out of play, because it's still in the free guard zone, it would have gone back and the shooter would have been removed. But
yeah, well, good for My Larson. It's nice to see those kinds of shots. It's exciting to have a chance to try them, and
yeah,
then it's even more satisfying when they work out. So that's lovely. And another center line guard, this time hopefully stopping on the center line.
Let's go over curl again.
No, we have another chance.
I think it stopped. Yep.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah. Yeah, just barely.
So looking now to draw to the corner, maybe behind their own Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're using the,
Not
I guess we'll
critical
call
to
it
Barry.
corner guard.
Yeah.
Very, very nicely done. Managed very well by the sweepers.
So looking for the high guard now. They're going to play a second guard. This is the fifth stone of the end, though, so Peels can start after this.
Right. Yeah, I'm expecting. I mean, Madeleine's team, the Dupont team, has already started throwing draws behind corner guards, but her goal will be to make sure that these ends are not complicated, that we have no build-up of stones and guards and things at this point. Keeping it as clean as possible will be in her best interest for sure.
Yeah, they would like to have as much separation there as possible. There's a chance to go after the double peel here.
Mm-hmm. Hand on the shoulder, big weight coming.
Just a touch, like that one seemed to run a bit nicer.
A little bit of angle on the two stones, and they're not that far apart. Chance for Denise Dupont to try to get them both. It's going to be a little thin on the first one.
Yep. So straight peel on the one they just threw. And we're going to replace it.
If you could have everything you wanted here, you'd probably like this a little bit higher, but dead in line.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't easy to throw.
No, I mean the two guards in the free guard zone separated reasonably from each other. That's a tough ask.
Well, and it's got to be dead in line too, right? Because if it's not, if you throw this high and you leave half a rock on the back one, they're just going to peel the back one, because the high one by itself doesn't really guard anything.
Right.
It's only good for guarding a tight guard.
Yeah, guarding the guard. Well, this one I think is drifting a little deeper than they like, but you know what? It's not bad. And here we're going to try again with the double.
Just by the second stone.
Yep. And rolls well off to the side. Maybe not quite out of play, but certainly a perfectly good shot.
Two more even.
Interesting looking at this classic scoreboard with the image of the lady at the side of the points line.
The McDonald Lassie. Yeah,
that's right. It's not something you see that often anymore, because it's
No.
a holdover from many, many years ago.
A lot of clubs have painted over it.
Yeah, well, at one point it was like one of those things where technically are we are we advertising things that we're not allowed to advertise anymore? But most people, the younger crew at least, don't know who it is, so they don't relate it to anything. It's interesting. And this is a club that has it. The one I was in earlier in the week, I was in Leaside, and they have them on their scoreboard as well. Ours has been covered by a large sticker in my club, but it's amazing to see it.
Dead lined up this time, so
Yep.
a little tougher to make the double peel and roll away.
A little nervous there for a sec.
He tightened up the ice, and it'll be hard to take both blues without leaving a yellow. Well, there go both blues.
Did leave the yellow, and actually, if you saw at the end, it actually spun back to more of the center line.
It's a long guard now.
It is. One more look at this run back. Take a look at after the hit. So she makes the double, and it looked like she was going to roll maybe all the way off the center line just, and then right at the end, it spins back a little bit.
You're right. There you go. Yeah. Good eyes. All right. So we're now into Vice's rocks. Actually,
This is
the last
Justin
of the
Murphy's
Vice,
last stone for the end.
last
Yeah.
of the Vice rocks, and their chance to use that guard, create a little bit of offense. Interesting.
That's I don't mind that. That still can be used as a guard.
And it would appear that Madeleine's not going to mess around. I thought to myself she could add another one in and be lying too, but that's not
with
let's
this
not fool
scoreboard.
around.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're just peeling. Yeah, the podcast Inside Curling guys were talking a little bit about McDonald Tobacco's sponsorship of the men's championship for so many years. I had no idea that it had been 50 years or so that they actually were sponsors. So we saw that symbol on all kinds of curling boards. And then, of course, their company was bought by another of the giants of that industry, and they no longer sponsor the Briar anymore. But the symbols remain in the clubs, especially the older clubs in the country. That's great. Here we
Heard them
go.
discussing options, but I didn't hear what they settled on. They could simply throw the guard here, or they could come around, and they did discuss that. They said, well, they'll try the double, but it still has to be made. You could guard here, let her peel the guard, and then come around and see whether or not she's willing to play the double on the last one, when it could be a steal.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to try and steal your way back in,
I heard back four, so they're coming in now.
Yeah, for sure.
Line's pretty good now. Back four. Yep, go. As much separation as you can. Keep going.
Okay.
Comes to the top of the button. Is probably still half or a little more than half open.
Yeah, there's two options. I mean, if Madeleine wants to keep it simple, she could try to just do a straight run back double, and then her shooter will hopefully move a little bit off the center, but she can just go after the shot rock. They are the second shot right now. Yellow, the Dupont team is second shot, so it's a nice advantage to have that choice.
She's going to go after shot rock directly, and the danger here, we've seen it so many times already in this game, you overcurl a little bit on this attempt. If she ever touches that blue, she could put it in for second shot, and then she might have to make a decision with her last one. She puts it in for second, you know that Krysta Burns is going to guard. She'll play a tight guard. Do you just hit the one in the 8-foot and give up one? Probably would have to, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, the advantage is she's got a great lead and she has hammer, so at the end of the day, she can probably just get one if she has to.
I think she's by that one, though. She's got a great looking shot here.
Yep, looks wonderful. hit and a lovely roll over underneath.
Cutting hair deeper so we can carry a bit more.
And second shot, or sorry, that's actually shot rock. Now they're lying 2.
So Krysta Burns will look to come around her own stone at the top 12 foot again. Heard them say just looking to be a little bit deeper so they can get it buried farther. Even if you're in the back of the button now, at this point in time, they just want to force Madeleine Dupont to throw a draw with her last one. If she's hitting anything, you're probably in trouble.
I gave it more. Sarah first. Switch and curl.
Sounds like the discussion is she might have been a little bit wide and released it differently. It's not curling the same.
Just got a lot wider.
Okay. So that is second shot. And easy enough to hit, but then if they hit it on the nose, they will not add another point.
Well, they would their stone at the edge of the 8 foot would then be second shot, so they'd get 2 if she hits it on the nose.
Yes.
Which is all she's going to get with the draw.
Which is what she's elected to do. Interesting.
Yep. Well, when there's 2 blues over there, something over curled, there is the potential for a jam or rub something in. There's not likely much chance for a disaster with a draw attempt. If you picked on a draw, it would probably die.
Right.
Took a ton of ice here to make sure she could get by the stone at the top of the 12.
Yes.
Not sure she's by the stone in the top of the 12.
Sweep that. You need to get by. Wow.
Just gets by, comes to the back of the 4, puts 2 points on the board, and the gloves come off. It's handshakes. Madeleine Dupont with a 9-2 win here over Krysta Burns in B event action. That'll move Madeleine forward in the B event. Krysta will drop down to the C at 0-2. She's got 1 life left. That the nice thing about a triple knockout, you always know if you're still playing, you're still alive.
That's right. Your back's against the wall, but you're still alive.
But they're going to have to pick it up a little bit when they get back on the ice tomorrow.
Absolutely.
We want to thank all of you who have been watching this evening as well as all day today. The Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. Men's and women's action will continue throughout the weekend. Championships on, I think, one division is Sunday and one is Monday, but you can find all that information on Curling Zone and watch all the action here all weekend long on Curling Stadium Network. My name is Shawn Joyce. David Wills has joined me here tonight. We want to thank you for joining us tonight and look forward to seeing you all weekend.
Thanks, Shawn. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Hey, curling fans at High Park and sitting at home watching the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard at StuCurls.com. Look after the game. We're just up the road from High Park. Come to my house in the Junction, have a cocktail, have a late night snack, and talk about the game.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.